Hey you guys, back to do more analysis on the crypto market. So I'm gonna start off with Bitcoin as usual. It's the most important one, and I'm gonna go to a three-day chart. I mean, I wish this was faster, but I don't have something like MT4 that has really good prices and data feed. So this broke down in a very clear way, and then totally negated. I mean, this is so slow. I think I have to zoom in. I can't use that much space because for some reason this just takes forever. And this looks very bullish on a daily chart. That we broke back into the triangle and we're breaking up higher, but when I look at the alts, it doesn't look bullish. That's a daily chart. Is there anything on volume MACD that might help me? Not really. I have declining volume, but price isn't rising, so that's not helpful. We had to bounce off this trend line support, and that trend line is rising. So we'll probably get a bounce if Bitcoin drops down to that, which is right around 8K now. So it's good for me to go over this because, you know, I'm reminded of these things, and also I see where the trend lines are. Even if price isn't moving, the trend lines are moving. And because I'm more aware of it, I know to watch for it when it happens. And can appropriately decide whether to buy or not. Like, not to short right at that trend line. You know, price is sort of flagging sideways, and there could be another jump up, and I do have to be aware of that. Alright, just from looking at this, it's not... I don't think there's anything particularly bearish about this. And so if I just looking at this and prior price history, I would rather buy than sell, but when I look at alts, I don't want to sell. I mean, I don't want to buy. And then on a 2-hour chart, if I can read what's going on, that might help. This isn't really a head and shoulders because this wouldn't really be a reversal. And now that this double shoulders, I mean, this isn't really head and shoulders. We had this fall, a bear flag of some kind, and then a sell. But the fact that we got bought up so quickly is pretty bullish. We had an attempt higher here that failed. So we might fail again, and we are starting to see red in the midst of that attempt up. So maybe this will fail and we'll drop. Maybe this will fail and this will drop down to there. So we have like these double trend line area. And this is obviously resistance. And a break of that could be or it could be a break for a spike high and then it drops. So that's what I'm looking at. We'll see. And then an hour. So this could be a failure here, which would be great. I want that to be a total failure. Because now that we have this higher high, it would make sense for people to buy this higher low to take it to a higher high, but we're failing to do that, and so we might get a lower low now. So it's important to be able to read that, as opposed to just, is this a head and shoulders or what? Because we're in the midst of possibly an attempt to change the trend back down. And so there are going to be people to take things down, but also people still trying to attempt to take things higher. And so it'll be a struggle here until it's very clear what direction is. This is SNT. I don't really use this coin until I saw a chart recently that might be helpful. There's enough data here that it could possibly be used. And on this daily chart, there's nothing really that helpful except obviously, you know, there is support. I have 12-hour closed Bollinger Bands here, and this is support. So this might hold. I also want to have another horizontal here, because that will be additional where people might buy, where buyers would come in. So I guess that's it for this. I don't think there's anything on short term, though I can look at price action to see. There was an attempt to take things higher, it failed, another one, it failed, and then we dropped to a lower level. So this is, I guess, the lower level where there could be a attempt up, but if it fails, the next support area is here. This is Qdom. Qdom is in this horizontal range. On this Qdom chart, it's interesting that the 3-day closed Bollinger Band was right there and there at the top. And that did a good job of help defining that top. So checking all these things can help me make more money. We did break this horizontal support. and when we hit that last, price sold off from it. And that was probably a top for a lot of things. It was, I think, yeah. Or I don't know if that was real price. That was just a quick wick. That likely did not show up in other charts, but yeah, so we're sort of in this horizontal range, and the upper boundary is, you could say, like this horizontal, roughly, and the lows are here, I guess you could say. You could say here too, but it's close enough where I would see that's where price might be supported. If we get a break of this, though, that would be very important in indicating that we might be heading much lower. This is bad. And on a daily chart, maybe there is this. Yeah. So we have resistance on that. And then support. Here. We did hit resistance, so that would suggest that the next step is support, and I think we have I think there's a head and shoulders forming here. There was definitely MACD divergence on this high, and volume divergence. Sort of a head and shoulders, but the way this is forming, this could shoot up for another high to match that shoulder before heading down. But this is a lower low, which would suggest even if we head higher, we're not going to break the high and we're going to head lower. So I guess I would set up like a sell order, limit order here in that area. 6-hour chart. More of the same. Four-hour chart. It's not loading. This sucks. And okay, 4-hour and then 2-hour. This is ETP. I think ETP kind of does too much of its own thing, or it just serves way more than others. But if this turns around, that can be a good sign that the top is in. We may be triple topping of some kind, or this might be consolidating before another jump up. It's too hard to tell. Yeah, I just don't know. Something to keep an eye on, though. This is IOTA. Oh, on a 3-day chart. Okay, so we obviously have a massive break higher, or a massive break higher, topped out, and then a breakdown through this triangle. The one thing we didn't do is break through what you could say perhaps is even the lower boundary of this triangle. I don't think that is, because if that was the case, this would be an upside breakout, and it's not behaving that way. So I think we have broken to the downside, and this behaved like it. A pullback to retest it. We broke out from this side part of it, and then we've been in this triangle also that temporarily broke down but is holding above now, but it hasn't really been able to get to the resistance, which looks very weak. And we had to break back up, pull back to retest, you could say. Or this was the pullback, it soared, but then it broke all the way back down to support. We're getting another bounce, and possibly another failure to get higher. So we had a higher high, higher low. This could be the lower high of another move that could take IOTA down to there. And this part that I'm doing this analysis is very integral to do it every day, because it makes my understanding very deep and very thorough, and so that so that the more I do it, the more I'll remember not just the big things, but more of the details each day, which are very, very important. Very important. Because all these little details, several of them combined, or even just one of them, it's not even a detail but just something I missed, could completely change my thought process, as opposed to instead of going short to go long, or especially when they're in combination. And so I want to remember all these details to maximize, and then also know where are the battle zones, where's support, where's resistance. So hopefully we are going to get more of that downside, but I don't know. This is an attempt by bears to take this down. So we'll see if but this is where buyers would come in because we had a slight higher high, and this would be a fib higher low place to take it higher. So this is where some people would buy, and probably a good concentration of people if there are. Okay, so we'll see. It looks like we almost had that attempt up, and it's failing already, forming a lower high here, which would suggest a lower low down to there, or better yet, even lower. Yeah, and that seems to be what's going on, so we'll see. But anyway, support is down here. Resistance is also way up there. The next target, the measurement of this, so maybe there. But that would be more of a take profit instead of instead of shorting. This is ELF. ELF is in this very clear bear flag. And it's like there was an attempt to take this higher, I guess, but it failed. Another attempt higher, it's failing. Lower high. Lower high. Lower high. Which would point to a lower low. Maybe here. And better yet, there. So, you know, it's like a struggle to decide on the trend, and once you get that lower low, it'll be a little bit more clear that possibly the trend is down, maybe a lower high there, and then the trend is more established. Okay. I guess I'm not sure if there's anything else. 6 hour chart. I don't see divergence that would be helpful. 4 hour. We're potentially about to make a lower low, which would be great. And 2 hour. This is an Ethereum chart, obviously a very important one. We have this big head and shoulders. And then when I zoom in, we're kind of bouncing along this neckline. And this potential flag. I'll zoom in to get a better idea. It looked like we were breaking down, but I guess it wasn't strong enough. I mean, that massive rally that sold almost all the way back down, but and certainly did to support. And we had an attempt higher that seemed to have failed, and we got another attempt, but that's sort of fizzling out also. But it could be because this is the weekend, in which case I don't want to discount that we could. I mean, I don't want to discount, I guess, that like this could happen. I don't want it to happen. But we did have one attempt higher, it failed. Another attempt higher, it failed. Maybe we'll get the maybe there will be another one. Hour chart. Certainly I can identify support here. Or maybe I drew that already and it hasn't updated on this chart yet. But if that breaks, it's very if this breaks, we'll likely drop to those lows, which would be fantastic. So yeah, what I want to see is, I mean, this, you could say this is almost a triangle forming. I have to consider that. I have to consider that possibility. they're not really proper touches, so it's hard to go with it. Maybe that. That would probably be about the most believable. So I guess it's very clear to me what I need to watch out for. A break above this, certainly above, definitely above this high. I have to be careful. I also have to be aware it's very possible, and this is what I'm inclined to think. This is probably what more I'm inclined to think, something like that. And I'm sort of very wary of going long. RDN is just in this situation. If anything that I can get out of this is that we hit resistance, and so the next logical place is for price to fall to support. But it will probably depend a lot on Bitcoin. This is OMG. OMG is possibly breaking this support, which is great. I know. this certainly broke support, which is more suggestive of downside. And we're possibly getting that break to the downside, which is great. You had a big surge up from support here, roughly, and then a sell all the way down, an attempt higher, and it failed. And so we're kind of in this range, but we got the first attempt higher that failed. That lower and ended up failed to do what? It failed to get back to resistance, failed to higher high, and we got a lower high here, which is suggesting here support before maybe it bounce up and then, you know, something like that. We do have this closed Bollinger Band though on this 12-hour, and so that will provide support until it opens. Though I'm not as big of a fan of 12-hour. I just don't know how often that holds up, but I would rather not. I think it's better to not bet against it. Until I see it getting broken. Even though, you know, I would love to just fall down. Nothing on the indicators that's helpful. I can be, I can be watching for Bollinger Bands. Um, okay, this is OMG. And again, it looks like it's attempting to break lower, which would be great. So we'll see. If that happens, this will be support. That 12-hour close below 100 band is there, but that's only going to be the case for however many hours. This is then, it's kind of doing its own thing. I like that this has volume divergence on this high that's higher than this high. And some MACD divergence, which is suggestive that that might be a top, but it might only mean there's a pullback before another move higher. In any case, this is not a short, like when I would short, but if and when it turns, it could be a good sign of a top and other things. This is Zcash. Zcash has this head and shoulders also, and it's like, you know, on the neckline, and is making higher highs. But we're closer to resistance and support, which is, you know, I guess if I had to choose, I would sell. I would, just for that reason, it's more of a sell than a buy. But it doesn't mean it has to be. There was a little volume divergence on that high. Is this a head and shoulders? Whoa. Yeah. Oh, possibly. That would be so good if that happened, if we had it'd be great if there was a break here. I don't know if that'll happen though. I mean, we haven't had a lower low, but we did get a lower high, which is somewhat suggestive that this might lower low. And then if that happened, the trend would turn down. Or maybe this might have a bigger bounce. Okay. Good. So we'll see. and this is EOS, and EOS is just bouncing off this big trend line. We have a higher low, which just from this would be like suggest that, but when I look at other alts, that doesn't look to be the case. What does suck to look at is this could still be Head and Shoulders. Until if this rising trend line breaks, though, it's less likely, which would be great. It's great, which I do want to see happen. So, of course, this is support. So based on that alone, I don't want to, but it's more like a buy, and at least be careful. But it's not breaking support, though it is testing it a lot. Yeah. A break would be great. I think I'm not getting as much from everything else. Well, except for the fact that I guess off support, you got an attempt higher. It failed. A lower high, but higher load here. Still lower high, higher load here, lower high. Meaning this is turning into a trap. And it's about to break out. And so if we break the recent highs, there's likely to be a good move up. Ugh. Though if the Monero break holds, that I'll go into a little bit, and the OMG break holds, this could be a false break if it does break up. Neo, I really like looking at because it's very bearish. There was this big triangle. Obviously, we broke down, retested the breakdown, and we had this smaller continuation pattern triangle here that we've broken below, and it suggests, and this is saying that we're heading down, but this isn't gonna go by itself, and then just from this, another trend line's formed, support trend line. So we're in this, you could say, this bear flag now that I'm hoping breaks to the downside again. but it hasn't done that. So if there is a move up, it could be bounded by the upper trend line. Anything helpful that could only determine what's going on? No, just a bear flag. No real divergence that was helpful. The next target, because we hit the highs, is still lower. Just from the trend, the mini trend we have right now. One thing I have to do is also I have to visualize the different possibilities of the next couple moves. BTG, very clearly having broken very good support, and in this very clear bearish bear flag, which I love seeing. This is also, I mean, I don't know if this is targeting support, because you could say, I don't know, like another angle, like trend line could be forming at this bottom. We'll see. But this is very bearish also. Support. So price is being supported here, so we'll see if the support holds, or if this trend line takes price down further. ETC. How's this? Head and shoulders forming before this possibly breaks down. And I do need to keep in mind that I'm not trading like against myself, it's against other people. And I have to figure out what they're doing and then, you know, plan ahead as the most likely scenarios of what they're gonna do and then getting ahead of them. Or after the first ones. Because reading other people is really just reading the market is really just reading other people. Within this 3-day, I'm not seeing anything that helpful. Within this 1 day, the great is that I've had lower low, that this trend up may be ending because I have a lower low, lower high possibly, which would suggest a lower low. Or at least it would back down to support. And there is some kind of potential trend line that's formed across these lows. So we'll see if this trend line breaks, that would be great. And the progressive lower highs is suggesting that lower high, lower high, lower high. But we're also getting higher lows. So, but this is a lower high from that, from before. So if I had to bet on it, I would more likely say it would low next time. All right. Because we were getting higher high, higher low, higher high, until this lower high, an attempt to take it higher, it failed, and it failed again. So, that might be the situation. this is ZRX. There's not all that much helpful with this, except we're at resistance. But if this fails below here, that would be very bearish. We haven't yet. And actually, we just had a higher high, so this is more bullish. But I'm just very, kind of skeptical of higher highs. I think they can flip very quickly. This is Ripple. Ripple is had this big triangle breakdown, and very clearly is just channeling sideways, but is getting progressively weaker, and is in this bear flag, and it looks like it's close to breaking down through support. Because we had this hot bounce off support, failed, and a lower high, and then attempt higher at lower high again, and that is more suggestive that we're gonna get a break downside soon. So hopefully that happens, and it looks like even that attempt up is already failing also. XLM Stellar. Trix is really moving, by the way. Yeah, Stellar's been surging, so this is not a one to short, and we could have this flag that could lead to another high. I don't really know much more than that. And this broke that prior high, which is obviously bullish. You had that broke it, so you had the second high, but this might run out of steam. And certainly the second high had lower volume divergence, which is suggestive that makes that a potential top, and MACD divergence. So we'll see. Tricks. Trix is heading higher. There is some divergence, which is actually great on volume and MACD. So we'll see if that. Not so much on the 4 hour in terms of MACD. So we are getting a bit of an uptick right now, which sucks. Dash. Dash had this head and shoulders, and then this neckline retest, which is certainly bearish, but on short term there could be another surge up. Zooming in here, a little bit more. We have a potential triangle formed, and hopefully this doesn't break up. it's very narrow. We had a false break below, which is more suggestive that this will break up. Ah, shit. I guess this is what we found out tomorrow. This is fun. You know, on a long-term chart, we have this triangle forming. I'm hoping it breaks to the downside, and it seems like it's trying to, but it hasn't yet. We have a lower low, which is great. And it temporarily broke below, but it's been holding. So I don't know if it will break below. Oh, Monero's breaking lower, which is great for the downside, for the bear side. Oh, I love that. I want to go to a Monero chart very quickly. Oh, this looks like a real break to the downside. Huge relief. It's not a we have this big triangle, complete breakdown. So this looks like a much clearer break. We have this big flag of some kind across the bottoms. That was just a wick of some kind. It didn't really show up in other exchanges, so I'm not counting that. But it looks like there's this flag, and based on this ascending trend line that had 3 hits, it looks possible it will fall. The next support where buyers would come in and shorts would cover is here, and then obviously there. But having that will, I think, can have a downward effect on other markets, other cryptos. So we'll see. Certainly the prior low breaking would also be more helpful. And there was divergence on the second top suggesting that would hold on MACD. Yeah. So we'll see. Like basically one more dollar down in Monero, and that this is a real break will be a lot clearer. So I'm hoping for that. That's gonna have downward pressure and create downward pressure on other cryptos. This is Litecoin. On a 3-day chart, we've broken down from this big triangle, and it looks like this is a big flag sideways, a bear flag, that will break to the downside. again, the fact that I think we didn't get to the prior highs, at least, is more of a bearish sign. We had a total lower high form, and there might be another attempt higher, but I think it might lower high again because of that lower high there, and then after that next lower high, if it happens, then a move to the bottom, down here to support. If that happened, Ripple would break its bear flag, and I guess I wouldn't expect a big bounce there. So you could have this act as a lower high place, and then minor support, like if I were to draw like a trend line. That could be a trend line. Oh, and also what's great is, oh, very good. I have this downside break in wax. I wouldn't have known this without checking. But a possible break to the downside in wax. A little more will confirm that this isn't just a temporary break that doesn't last. So I guess that's, I want to zoom in to see if there's anything else that I can see. In Litecoin, not really. Again, that might be the lower high location, which would be a few percent higher. I did have volume divergence on this, which suggests there weren't a lot of people buying this at that price. And then, okay. Briefly, this is Cardano. It's sort of mishmash this triangle, and it's kind of just turning into like a big, this is support and rough decline down resistance. I'll have to see how that plays out. And last, Bitcoin Cash. possible head and shoulders. And this is a bounce off the neckline. I should have waited until neckline break before putting on a lot of size, because a lot of size requires almost like a certainty that that the trade will win, and then that neckline would provide a massive amount of support. But I was using Bitcoin by itself too much, not looking at a lot of the others that hadn't really broken down, or a lot of the other majors that hadn't fully yet, I guess. And then I didn't see Litecoin and IOTA breaks to the upside after they're sending triangles. Or I only saw Litecoin, but I didn't see IOTAs, and that one would have given me more confidence, especially if I had seen Neos and seen the reaction it had off that descending trend line. Bitcoin Cash is lower high, which is great. But it did higher low, so there could be another attempt higher. We did get that wick just now, like, like 12 hours ago, that was like sort of rejection, and possibly this trend line. It's Bitcoin sort of flirting with a break of this rising trend line. We'll see if it breaks. It's struggling to hold it, but if it breaks, next major support is maybe these lows, and then these lows, and then these lows, and then obviously that triangle, that support. But it is above support right now. So we'll see if this was. When price got up to there, we did see a big. Every time it gets in this area, a lot of selling. So we'll see if that happens again. Okay, so you know what I'm looking for. It is important to do analysis and do it very truthfully with yourself, and not just hold on to a view and ignore or not believe the analysis that you're doing. I have to believe it, because that means I don't trust what I'm seeing on the chart. And if I don't, then what is the point of doing analysis except to do it and then not really believe it, and then lose money for not believing it. Alright. And the more I do this, the more of a detailed understanding I have of all the little things that add up to give me like a full picture of what's going on. And that all those things go into a decision-making process. And if I don't do those things, I'll have less input going into a decision-making process, and I'm not going to be able to make as good decisions, or as accurate profit making. I'm not going to be able to make as accurate decisions with all those inputs that are correct. Okay. It's not about being good enough without it. It's about we're not good enough without it. It's about we need knowledge in this life. I have to collect knowledge. Alright, to know what to do. Alright? My experience can only give a judgment about that knowledge, but I need to collect that knowledge and then know how to use it. Alright? experience and judgment to make profitable trading decisions. Okay, the more knowledge I have, the more I can use my experience and judgment in a successful way for me. All right. Okay, that's it. Good luck.